Hello everyone, I'm day weather meteorologist Don Day with your Public Lands Council weekly weather update for this June 17th, 2023. It's being brought to you by WSR Insurance Services Incorporated. Also being brought to you by Ag Risk Advisors. Well, here we are halfway through the month of June already. Wow. For many of you, June has not started off hot. In fact, very few areas have been hot in the western United States. And while it will be warmer, temperatures are still going to lag a bit, but we do see gradually a more summer-like pattern developing. It is going to trend warmer starting this weekend and over the next 7 days, and it's also not going to be as wet. We are going to see less in the way of shower and thunderstorm activity and temperatures that will feel a little bit more like, well, they should be for this time of year, getting a little more summer-like. So that'll get things growing a little bit more. And while we're going to see less in the way of shower and thunderstorm activity, it doesn't mean they're going to go away completely. We're still going to have showers and thunderstorms in some areas, but the persistent daily chance of rain, which has been around in many areas, is going to shift around a little bit. Also, for you folks down in Arizona and New Mexico, looking for that monsoon season, it's usually beginning by now with those afternoon and evening thunderstorms, but you haven't seen them yet. It's delayed for another 2 or 3 weeks, and this is mainly due to the fact that the colder than average winter temperatures in the desert Southwest and the above normal precipitation has kept the deserts cool. You need desert heat to get the monsoon going. We haven't had that yet. So it's going to be delayed before it gets started, probably not going to get going until July. Now, over the last week, this map looks very familiar because the maps we've been showing you lately have looked the same. The northwest to southeast axis of heavier moisture, again, for the 4th week in a row, is in the same areas. So Colorado, western Kansas, many areas of Wyoming and Montana and Idaho, even eastern Oregon, back up into Alberta and British Columbia have seen just some really good rains. And we mentioned that there's no monsoon yet. Down there, they have not seen any rain in the last week, and that will probably continue for another week. When we look at the drought monitor, we continue to have the worst drought conditions right here, but we continue to see the drought conditions a whole lot better than they were a year ago. The worst drought conditions, the areas in red there and the darker orange, well, those areas are shrinking. Now, those areas that are in those drought conditions, it's certainly not a good situation. They need a lot more. But if you look at the last 2 weeks, a lot of green here in this area right here, showing big improvements over the last 2 weeks with that shading of green back up here into parts of the Pacific Northwest as well. And soil moisture anomalies continue to show where the drought conditions are, but the white and green means adequate or above average soil moisture content. Now, this is partly due to the very cool weather we've had in the month of June so far. This is where we've been since June 1. The blue and the green showing below average temperatures for the month so far. The orange showing above average. A large part of the lower 48 has had a very cool start to the month of June. Just down into Texas, Mexico, then up into Canada hasn't been above average. Now, as we take a look at how the weather will unfold, this weekend we'll continue to see thunderstorms in the southern plains and along the east coast. We're going to see a breezy pattern develop in the northern Rockies, but a more westerly flow does mean temperatures are going to be moderating a bit in the west because of the flow change. The change in the weather pattern is developing, and this will mean warmer conditions over the next 7 days, not as cool and also not as moist. This is by next Saturday. A southwest flow means air from the deserts getting into the western high plains and Rockies. This will warm things up, but we'll continue to have afternoon and evening chances of showers and thunderstorms. This high down here is going to likely hook up with another high building here later in the 7 to 14 day period. And this is something that we normally see in the summer, these highs wanting to drift further north, pushing that jet stream further north as we get towards early July. The next week ahead, this is what the precipitation outlook looks like, is again the same areas. Look at Alberta. Alberta and Saskatchewan going to pick up some needed rain. Also more rain for Montana, parts of Wyoming, the Dakotas into the upper Midwest, while the monsoon season continues to show signs of being weak, beginning to get started later on. Our next update will be the 24th. Have a good week ahead.